At Fidei.email, we believe in protecting your privacy and supporting your faith. Fidei.email offers peace of mind with features like end-to-end encryption and secure communications tools. Your data stays private and your values remain intact. Choose an email provider that understands what matters to you. Make the switch to Fidei.email today.
We have an update in the Marco Rupnik case. Finally. It looks like he may face justice. And I remember saying to you just weeks ago that I expected them to kick the can down the road on this story. Again, here's the story of Marco Rupnik, sanitized. Longtime Jesuit priest, responsible for the most high-profile art these days in the church, the vacant, glassy-eyed, to me, Giger-esque art that you see in a lot of things, including for like Jubilee years for the Vatican. You see the art all over the Vatican, in John Paul II's shrine. You see it in the Knights of Columbus Hall in the United States, the Fatima Shrine, Padre Pio's shrine. Anywhere you can really name that are high-profile pilgrimage sites in the United States or Europe, including the Vatican, Father Rupnik has his art there. He coerced nuns to do unspeakable deeds with him, violations of their vows. And they did engage in parodies of the Mass in that way. And that's all I'll say on that, because I can't bring myself to describe it. It's so grotesque. He incurred automatic excommunication for what he did. He used the sacrament of penance to hide the deeds with the nuns. And as a consequence of that, he incurred automatic excommunication, which, when this all came to light, was upheld by the Vatican. And prior to it being upheld by the Vatican, the Jesuits kicked him out of their order. Francis then reinstated him to the priesthood, lifted the excommunication. And many bishops around the world said, we're not going to get rid of his art out of our various places because it's so expensive. Even though people are mortified when they walk into a place and see his artwork. We have the update from Info Católica, which I believe is out of Spain. The headline: Rupnik to be tried by an independent court. Now that's good news, right? Independent court. You would think that that's good news, and hopefully it is. But in the aftermath of what happened to Cardinal Pell, I would really hope that observers are watching for wire transfers to that country from the Vatican and to the various jurisdictions there from the Vatican or from local dioceses to any place where this is going to happen. Sorry to be suspicious about these things, but after Cardinal Pell, what they did to him, I can only be suspicious. Because it bears saying again, Francis brags about the art he has of this man in his office. He teaches catechesis to people on the cuff about what the art means. And he's the one who lifted the excommunication for him. Now, it could very well be that after this independent process is done, Father Rupnik will have his excommunication put back in place, and he'll be dismissed from the priesthood. Pray that that happens. And also remember, I'm not doing a very good job of this, I try to remember that it's an old Catholic principle that people are innocent until proven guilty. So if he is actually truly innocent of this, then pray that the evidence for that comes out, that this is all just some fabrication. But I don't see how this is a fabrication. There have been too many people have come forward saying that this is the case with him. Let's get some details from this article. Quote, Cardinal Victor Manuel Fernandez, prefect to the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, has assured that the preliminary investigation into the case of former Jesuit Marco Rupnik is concluded, and that independent tribunal is being formed to move forward to the judicial phase. He made the statement in an interview given on January 23rd to the Spanish media. Alpha Omega, where he noted that this new stage seeks to take the case to a criminal judicial procedure. Rupnik, a Slovenian priest known for his work as an artist, faces multiple accusations of spiritual, psychological, and of the flesh misuse, as well as the abuse of conscience towards religious women under his direction. The first findings emerged from an investigation by the Society of Jesus in 2019. And in 2020, he was excommunicated for absolving an accomplice in confession of a sin against the Sixth Commandment. However, the excommunication was quickly lifted by Pope Francis in a decision that is certainly incomprehensible. Despite his expulsion from the Jesuit order in June 2023 for disobedience to his superiors, Rupnik continues to serve as a priest without restrictions and resides at the Aletti Art Center in Rome, which he founded. He was incardinated in the Slovenian Diocese of Corpera in 2023. Some of his works have been removed around the world, but the Vatican still displays his art on its website and in official spaces, including Pope Francis's personal apartment. Cardinal Fernandez stressed in the interview that the Rupnik case is just one of many involving misdeeds of a spiritual kind, a phenomenon in which spirituality is used as a pretext for relations of the flesh. In these cases, people who trust a spiritual guide are manipulated, and the spiritual beauty of our faith is also disordered in order to obtain these kinds of activities, the Argentine cardinal explained. End quote. So he's going to face justice by an independent tribunal. What he doesn't make clear is if this is going to be a Vatican tribunal, and if it is, how independent can they possibly be? This Vatican has surrendered most of its credibility on this. Francis protecting this priest, keeping him incarnated. If he had allowed him to have his faculties as a priest pending the result of this, but kept him in the Vatican to offer private masses, basically, and do whatever, basically under supervision, that might be one thing. Again, innocent until proven guilty. It's an old Catholic principle. Where do you think the secular world got it from? Right? They actually got it from the Inquisition. If you don't know this, back during the bad old days, we're told, of the Inquisition in Spain and other places, there were a lot of times where common criminals would do something to make it so that their case would be taken by the Inquisition because they get a fairer shake there. I know that's weird to hear given how we're taught about them in history, but one of those principles was that conviction had to have a pretty high bar because of the need for evidence and the presumption of innocence. And part of that is because the inquisitors were believing Catholics. They believed that they'd stand before our Lord and have to answer for any injustice and miscarriage of justice they did. But these days, the Vatican doesn't have that kind of credibility. Francis has a long track record of bringing priests and bishops who face some nasty accusations in Argentina and other places to Rome to work in the Roman Curia. It's a long track record. Bishop named Zqueta from Argentina is the highest profile of all of them before Rupnik. And of course, also Ted McCarrick. Because, as it was revealed recently, Francis was given a document by Benedict XVI about McCarrick and everything else, and he did nothing with it. It's part of Francis's track record back to the beginning. So if this is an independent tribunal in the Vatican, how is this going to possibly be truly independent? So pray that this happens, though, that this investigation in this tribunal is truly independent, and that the truth of the matter can come out, and true justice can be done. The Rupnik story needs to be handled properly. Because, as Cardinal Fernandez said elsewhere recently, there are worse out there than him. The mind boggles at that if you know the details of what Marco Rupnik did. Let me know what you think of this in the comments, please. Like and subscribe if you haven't. It certainly helps. So does sharing this on social media. That helps a lot too. And if you've ever thought about supporting the work of Return to Tradition, now is a great time to do it. Your support helps keep these daily messages coming. Patreon, Subscribe Star, all that stuff's in the description box below, or that join button does help a lot. And as always, pray for the church and for Marco Rupnik. If he is truly guilty of the things that he is said to be guilty of, then he needs your prayers. Our Lord commanded us to pray for our enemies. And I have a hard time envisioning anybody as my enemy, but somebody who does those kinds of things to nuns, if those accusations are true, probably ranks among them. So please pray for him. He needs it. He needs it more than almost anybody else you can think of right now. And again, as always, pray for the church. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.